Hello YouTube, this is NJ4Wider5, and as you can see I have a Malectrics Welder, thanks to Shannon. He had one of these laying around and he said it was not getting no use, it's basically brand new, and sold it to me at a really good price, all the way from Hawaii. So I have a couple plans for it. What I think I'm gonna do is, before I even use it or anything like that, because the batteries are supposed to be here any second, so once the batteries get here I'm gonna go ahead and throw that together. Those don't get spot welded because they're a special kind of battery. You'll see later on. I want to build a battery. For me, it's the first pre-made welder I've ever had. Every welder I've ever used I had to make myself, or put together myself. So this is the first welder that, I guess the only thing I'm really going to be putting together is the battery. So yeah, let's get into the battery build first. That I just wanted to give you guys a quick warning. Anybody purchasing the SPIM08HPs, I figured this out yesterday. I remember a while back ago I was online and I was looking through older posts trying to do some research on the battery, and I came across a guy. I've never heard of him before, but he had wrote in there something about the foil being conductive, and I remember I sent him a message and I said, hey, it'd be nice to see a video, but the guy never responded or nothing like that. It was an old message. Well, I didn't get to thinking about it, and I made these bus bars for this battery that I built for my Malectrics Welder, and I had made the bus bars to where they had more meat on them on the inside so that they would hold in further. Thank God I was able to flip them to use them. But anyways, I put them all on and I got to the, well, I started off with the negative side and I wrenched it all on, got everything tight, it was all good and go. And I got to the positive side one, and I put everything on there and I went to tighten it and I heard sparking, or it almost sounded like crackling, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And I thought, well, maybe it was in my head, so I didn't worry about it, and I kept building, and I got to the positive side again and I went to wrenching down on there, and this time I heard the same crackling noise. This time it scared me, so what I did is I hurried up and I took off all the bolts, and I got to looking in and I found some, like, I don't know, look like burn film, like where it had sprayed or something like that. It didn't destroy the battery. It wasn't the battery that did it. And I got to thinking, I'm like, what the heck's going on here? You know, the battery's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with the battery. And then I got to thinking, all right, this guy showed me, I remember this guy saying something about the foil on there being conductive. So I wanted to show you guys this. I didn't want to show you, I wanted to show you with a brand new box of batteries that I just got from Alarm Hookup, battery hookup, so that you guys don't think I'm pulling anybody's legs. So give me 1 second, I'll grab the box. All right, here's a brand new box from Alarm Hook or battery hookup. Oh man, I forgot about the peanuts. Wow. All right, well, these are not like the last box got. Last box I got, the peanuts were so staticky, I couldn't even get them out of the box. They kept sticking in my hand, and when I reached back in the box, they were going back in the box. Okay, so we're gonna do this with the first cell, guys. All right, so I'm gonna set this cell right over here while I do this. I'm gonna put this box away. Okay. Well, you don't even gotta take the negative side off. You can tell these got thrown around in the box. The ends are kind of messed up. Alright, so you're taking the positive side off, right? And there's this little, I don't know if it's like a foil that goes around the edge of it, but it's real super tiny. I really don't understand why they would have used it unless it's got like a super high resistance, and it doesn't really cause any issues if crossed. I just thought it was kind of weird, and I'll tell you guys how to bypass it once I show you guys. Okay, so you put your multimeter on. Hopefully you guys can see that. And you take your positive. This isn't a fully charged battery, so the voltage might be lower than normal. And watch the positive. I'm just gonna run it up here right by this. Alright, so I found a different cell. I've never seen cells like this yet. This is my first one, but these seem to have holes that aren't through on each side. These are actually holes in this SPIM08HP, so I'm assuming this is an older cell. But I did find a little bit of voltage. I haven't charged it all the way, but I just want to show you this. But if you charge it all the way, you'll get 3.87, I believe it was, or 88, 83. I just wanted to give you guys, you know, a quick heads up to keep an eye on it. And if I come up with one after I charge these and test these, I will go ahead and throw a video out there for you guys. But the way to avoid any damage or any issues, let's say that you make a bus bar, okay? Make sure that your bus bar doesn't go past the lip. You want your bus bar to stay on this side of the lip. So if you notice, hopefully my camera's focused. If you notice, there's a tiny little, I don't know, it looks like plastic lip there. You want to make sure that your bus bar that you make stays on this side of the aluminum. You do not want your bus bar to touch any of the gray whatsoever. If you've made one and you've gotten away with your bus bar being into the gray, you're lucky. But just for, you know, safety purposes, there's nothing wrong with the sill, guys. I'm assuming that the aluminum on here is probably highly resistive, and it'll probably burn away before it causes any kind of issues. But it could cause self-discharging, if I had to guess. I mean, if it's touching over time, I'm sure it's gonna self-discharge. But again, like I said, just make sure you keep your bus bar inside of the silver and you should be good to go. You know what's weird? The anode and cathode of this is way different than the other ones. Here's one I kind of found. This one, the battery voltage ain't as bad as the ones I've been seeing, and it's not on the tab, but typically I see them on the tab. And this is the positive side, just in case you guys are wondering. 419. This one I'm only getting 1.5 volts, which is actually pretty good considering. Must be all the way around this one. There you go. Hey, real quick, the video I made throwing these on and finishing the soldering on my cables got corrupt, so I figure I'd make this quick explanation of what I ended up doing. I ended up taking the wire that I'm using that's going to go to the terminals and soldering the balance lead to that, because the bus bars are hard to solder to because they're thermally, what do they call it, thermally conductive. So once you set your soldering iron on there, once you set your soldering iron on there, it sucks the heat right out of the soldering iron. You have to have a really super strong soldering iron. I believe the only one I have is maybe a 60 to 80 watt. So I had to come up with something quick, and this seemed to be the next best. So I soldered it to the actual, let me show you. So I ended up soldering it directly to the lug, and then throwing a piece of insulation over it. Then I taped them up on both ends and stuck a piece of foam down in there to, I mean, they're already taped up pretty good, so they don't touch. So they're already taped up pretty good, so they don't touch. But stuck a piece of foam in there on both sides and taped up both the positive and negative so that they couldn't be touched. And then I took the leads just in case somewhere down the line I find thicker balance cables, and stuck them to these with the hot glue to keep them in place, and to the balance lead. And so far so good. Everything I measure seems to measure out perfectly, and I guess it's on to the box. Alrighty, that's this build complete. You open it up, you got your positive and negative post right here. The Arduino welder cables right here. That should go connected to this on the very end. This is directly connected to the battery. You can charge it through the post at a higher amp rate, or you can use a DC jack to do it at a lower amp rate, you know, 2 amps or whatever, 12.6. I actually have a 12.6 charger for 3S batteries. To see the voltage, you turn this on, and let's say it gets out of balance. If it gets out of balance, all you do is long press type, and it'll start balancing it. A lot of people don't know, but based on the resistors used for this balance, it balances at 100 milliamps. Out of everything I've gotten, besides the active balancer does 1.5 amps, of course. This is probably the strongest, probably the cheapest, and I've pointed this out in the past that, you know, you can use this to balance, you know, your 8 amp hour headways and stuff like that. So for this, it should work perfect. Like I said, it does, I believe it's 100 milliamps per cell. It's not a great number, but it's better than your standard BMSs and, you know, all the stuff like that. What else? It's pretty basic. That's basically it. I mean, it's a pretty simple, easy build. Whenever I'm done with these, I just tuck them in here, close it up, tuck it in here, close it up. That's it. Turn it off, put it away. Looks like a little one. Still looks like a lunch, or still looks like a toolbox. And this will be the toolbox that goes with my Malectrics Welder. So if you guys got any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will check you guys out in my next video.